And Delano Banton, who joined DeAndre Ayton and Scoot Henderson in the starting lineup. And tonight the Knicks, behind Jalen Brunson's 45 points, record a 105-93 victory. The 45 by Jalen Brunson is the most that an opponent has dropped on the Trailblazers this year. And there you have it, 105-93. I'm Chad Doing, along with my main man, Chris Burkhart. This is the fifth quarter. We're live here from Moda Center following the Trailblazers home back-to-back against the Hawks and Knicks. Portland takes the loss tonight, and now they will take off to the road for a mini two-game road trip. They start Saturday in New Orleans against the Pelicans. That game will tip off at 4. Game day will start here on 620 Rip City Radio at 1:30. We're also live on YouTube. My man Chris Burkhart deserves all the credit. He is running everything here from our broadcast position at the Pines, Section 330. So you can log on, go to youtube.com, pull up our homepage, Rip City Radio 620, and be able to check out our broadcast position here. And you can take part in the YouTube chat. And be sure to click and subscribe to our page. And we have links to all of our local shows right there. But, Chris, tonight, man, the game, the Blazers, I felt like they battled, but they just didn't have many offensive weapons on the floor, and they couldn't counter the Knicks and their sluggish, slow, grind-it type of basketball play tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird game, honestly, because it was one of those games where it felt like the Knicks kind of controlled the game throughout, right? Like even in the beginning part of the game there, it was interesting. So like, okay, the game is close, things are going well, but it's a 2-point game, 3-point game. Feels like it should be 20 the way they were controlling the game. It was similar to that Celtics game in the fact that this team is a good team and kind of flexed on them when they needed to.
Yeah, and they were able to do that. The weird part about Brunson's night tonight, like I like him as a basketball player and he's fun to watch, but I never got the idea or the feeling that he had a great game. And then you look up and you're like, wait, he's got how much? He finished with 45?
Right.
I feel like Chauncey Billups has got to be somewhat satisfied with that because he had 45 points and 4 assists, but it took him 30 shots to get it, and he was just 2 of 10 from downtown.
Yeah, you do like that, but it is interesting because, yeah, you're right. You look up, you're like, oh, he had, 8 of their first 12 and was just scoring like crazy. What I liked about tonight was the fact that you saw a couple guys. One of them, you mentioned it, I think you said on Twitter, Tamani Kamara was doing a pretty good job kind of getting under his skin. And the other one that I noticed, especially there late in the game, was he wasn't having too much of Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson wasn't letting him push him around either. So even though he dropped 40-plus, I like the fact that the Blazers had a couple guys in there that weren't going to back down.
Boy, Tamani Kamara, he's done this now multiple times on the season where he gets up on you and he doesn't stop. And most guys aren't willing to defend and get up in your grill the way Tamani is.
Right.
And a lot of players don't really know who he is. And this guy's up on you, and he's knocking the ball away. He's putting his body on you. He's got long arms, and he's tenacious, and you could see that there was a couple of moments where Brunson was visibly upset. And looking at the official trying to get a bailout, and the official just letting him play, and it's like, no, he's just playing you hard.
No, there absolutely was. Especially there late in the game. So, yeah, I like the fact they're letting him play hard. And, I think Scoot needed that. And, the play overall, it wasn't a great game from Scoot, but I did think it was a little bit of a bounce back from what we saw just a night ago. And if you know what, that little bit of an edge, something that we always talk about, Chad, and if he wants to play with that, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Scoot had 5 fouls tonight, but I watched him a lot on the defensive end. He was getting after it. He was trying to use his body. He was standing toe-to-toe with Jalen Brunson. He was being aggressive out there. He did make a couple of mistakes. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but what I like is during a couple of those stretches tonight where he struggled, he did not hang his head, and he continued to play his game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it sounds cheesy, but, man, going toe-to-toe with Jalen Brunson, that's not easy to do.
He's
That's
strong.
not easy to do. And he gave Scoot the look a few times. He comes back up the court after he hit a layup there late in the fourth quarter. He mugged Scoot the entire way, and Scoot didn't let it get under his skin.
Now, the other big note from tonight, DeAndre Ayton continued to bust that ass.
Yes, he did.
31 points, 14 rebounds, and he was doing everything out there. Got off to a bit of a slow start. The Knicks have some good size, but he continued to battle throughout the night. He played 40 minutes last night, and tonight 40 minutes. Back-to-back nights of 40 minutes and 30-point double-doubles from DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, we didn't really think that was going to happen, did we, Chad? We thought maybe those minutes would come down a little bit, but no, he took to it. He took he took the reins, if you will. He went out there, and he knew it was going to be a battle, and he accepted that challenge.
I like it, man. A little musical interlude.
That one didn't go on air. That was just in your eyes ear, I believe. That's my classic not being able to remember to turn off Captain Rich Patterson's playlist after the show starts.
No, that's great, man. I'm all about it. Anytime you want to play music in my ear for no particular reason, go ahead and feel free to do it. If you want to jump on board, the phone number here at the fifth quarter is 503-248-0620. Again, big thanks to Chris Burkhart, who, through his diligence and hard work, has got the YouTube cameras set up, and we are live on YouTube and on 620 Rip City Radio here from Moda Center as we continue to grind through the end of the basketball season. I'll say this about the Knicks. Tonight they get to win. They're 39-27. I like their team, and they got a couple of good guys, and I like the way that Thibodeau coaches them, and they play hard for them. But tonight answered a question for me. They're good, but they're not good enough to compete with Milwaukee and Boston. They're one of those tweener teams.
Yeah, they are. They're one of those teams, though, they're on the cusp. I think they're building something special, right? And if they get Julius Randle back, that's another big body, and then they can still make moves going in the offseason. The core is there. They got good pieces.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting all the other little pieces around it. They're right on the cusp of being a really good team.
Okay, who was the player that you came up and said, dang, I didn't know? OG Anunoby.
Oh, it was OG. It was, I told you, I was like, you know what? I knew he was big. We've known about his game. I didn't know OG Anunoby was that big. He's a truck.
He had 12 points and 9 rebounds tonight. I don't remember the last time I saw him live in person, but when you see him, he's so much taller and he's physically strong. And, boy, that was a guy that, we had hoped for maybe a year or two that would wind up in a Trailblazer uniform before Dame was traded out. That would have been nice. That would have been real nice, but, man, OG Anunoby is a big man. Tonight for the Trailblazers, it was DeAndre Ayton providing the meal ticket, 31 points and 14 rebounds. Chris Murray tonight had 10 points, 4 boards, and an assist in 31 minutes. Tamani Kamara, tough defense, 7 points. He had 4 assists and 3 rebounds. Delano Banton tonight, 16 points, not very efficient, 6 of 20 from the floor, and 2 of 9 from downtown. And Scoot Henderson tonight, 4 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from downtown, 12 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds. Off the bench, they got 8 points from Ashton Hagans and 5 from Matisse Thybulle. The Blazers shot the ball only at 40%. They were 11 of 33 from downtown. For the Knicks, they connected on 43% of their shots. They were led by Jalen Brunson, who had 45 points. But on 14 of 30 shooting, he was just 2 of 10 from downtown, 12 points, 9 rebounds from OG Anunoby. And that's pretty much it. It was the Jalen Brunson show here at Moda Center tonight. Well, we might as well go out to Buffalo, New York, Burkhardt. Our East Coast representative in Rip City is Joe in Buffalo. The Knicks were in town tonight, so a little New York action. A lot of Knicks fans here at Moda Center tonight. What's up, Joe?
Yo, what's going on, brothers? How you guys doing?
Fabulous, man. Long time no chat. How's it going?
It's going all right. How you guys? Burkhardt, it's good to hear your voice. It's good. Chad's always good to hear your voice. How you guys doing? How's it been? I know it's been a while. I apologize. Just taking care of some things on the East Coast end, but I've been meaning to call in, and I saw tonight the Knicks were in town, so I was like, all right, I gotta call in now. But God, that I didn't. I don't care that they won. I still don't miss them. All right, I'm still in this. Like, I figured if I didn't call in tonight, at least they'd be like, uh-oh, maybe he, maybe the fever, has subsided. Maybe he's back on the Knicks train. No, there never was a Knicks train, all right? It's always been Rip City for me now. So I just want to make that very clear. And also, I'm looking over, I didn't really call in with, like, a hot take like I normally like to, but, Banton, man, I know he wasn't that good tonight, but since I've talked to you guys last, against Memphis even, like, the guy just looks awesome. I don't know, that's, I guess, a question I could ask you gentlemen. What do you think of Banton's long-term chances with this team? Do you like him, or
it's a great question.
Where are you at with him?
Well, here's what I know about Banton. Regardless of whether it's here in Portland or it's with another team, he's making the most of his minutes here in Portland right now with the injuries.
Sure.
And he's showcasing, and he's going to create a pathway for himself moving forward. So I'm excited about that. What I like is his length and his willingness to put the ball on the floor and attack the rim, and he's an aggressive player. What's your take, Burkhardt? What do you see from him?
Yeah, I like the fact that he's aggressive. There is no fear, obviously. He likes to put up 20 shots a night, but I think the reality of the situation with him is he has to rein that in a little bit. He's like a Trendon Woppert or a Greg Brown to me right now. Like, yeah, they look good when they're getting run in the makeshift lineups, but how good is he and valuable is he on a healthy team?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I always forget he's 6'8". That's a crazy size for a point guard to me. Like, I understand when Scoot's out there, he's more of the point guard. And speaking of aggressive, that kid, just even the last time I seen him play, I think was against Denver, and he was just in Joker's face the whole time. Not being like over the top or anything, but just being a menace, just letting you know he's there, and he's not afraid to do that. I love that, and he's so young. This entire team, honestly, I want to give Chauncey credit for that. Because everyone that comes to Portland, they always get the word is to just be aggressive out there, no matter what, how little you've been with the team, how long you've been with the team, and they all have. None of them are afraid to get in anyone's face out there. It's awesome. I love how I forgot Banton himself. He's only 24 years old. Like, it's just an exciting thing to see that these guys not only be able to be good, but be aggressive. Now, I'm gonna give you one more thing, I think. So the lineup, it's tough to juggle around the lineups and build consistent chemistry when everyone's injured and all that, and people are coming back from injury and all that stuff. With the team we got now, what kind of would you guys do the same starting five that you saw tonight, or would you do how would you, Chad and Burkhardt, what would your guys' starting lineup look like with tonight's healthy roster?
Well, I appreciate the phone call,
Joe. You like to rotate 9, but
yeah, I think it's tough. I think the hard part is right now is that Billups just doesn't have a lot of options. So if Ant's going to be out of the lineup and no Grant, then I think you probably roll with the guys you put out there tonight, because I like the length surrounding Ayton. So Murray, Kamara, Banton, Henderson surrounding DeAndre Ayton. I've got no issues with that. I can't, I like Matisse coming off the bench. And obviously you want Reef coming off the bench behind Ayton. I don't think he has many other options than the lineup he put out there with the two guys that are out, Ant and Grant.
No, I don't think he does. And I think putting Tease and Reef on the bench gives you a little bit of a punch. But this is another one of those nights. I mean, what do? You just don't have that type of lineup. Friend of the show and Keith of Trailcaster podcast fame, my good buddy, I met up with him at the half, and we were talking about the game. I'm like, I know people like to poo-poo DeAndre Ayton a lot, not as much now because he's playing good ball, but there was times tonight he's out there with a lineup of Ashton Hagens, Delano Banton, Chris Murray, and Tamani Kamara. Like, if you're defending that, you're like, yeah, we're just going to kind of focus on DA because no one else is going to kill us. Like, it's a tough lineup. Now, if this team's healthy, like, yeah, those guys probably aren't playing. I mean, look at the guys who didn't play tonight for a second, okay? You could have had Ant, Shaden, Brogdon, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams if he's healthy, right? Jabari Walker. That 6 is probably beating the 6 that the Blazers are rolling out there for most of the game. So it's a rough go right now.
Ran into some good people tonight. See that picture right there, Burkhart? That right there is East Coast Earl. He lives over in Vancouver.
Okay.
Huge Knicks fan, huge Jets fan. And so I hadn't seen him in a while, but it was great to run into him. He is an instructor at the Culinary Institute over at Clark College in Vancouver.
Oh, heck yeah. So he's going to hook us up with some Rip City Eats, right?
Exactly. He was already talking about that. He's like, hey, I know you guys take the show out on the road. You guys need to come out and do the show on the road out at Clark. And I'm like, no problem, my man.
Yeah, I'm down for a live show at the culinary spot. And he's a Knick fan and has been for a while when he's wearing the old school Shamrock jersey. He's got the green one on, like Nate Robinson, Kryptonite fame. So yeah, he's been around for a minute.
All right, let's go out to the phones. This guy here won tickets from us, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. Let's go out and talk with Gary. Gary, what's up, my man?
What's up, brother?
Did you have fun tonight?
How you doing, man?
Oh, really well.
Oh, dude, we had a blast. Bro. We were looking for you when they went to break. We saw your post on Facebook. We were looking around because you weren't too far from us, but we didn't spot you.
Well, next time you're in the building, I'm usually sitting up there around section 113, so just stop by, man, or hit me up with, send me a message, and I'll come over and find you.
Okay.
So what jumped out of you tonight?
We just wanted to call in and say thanks.
Well, what jumped out of you tonight? What would you like about the game tonight?
Just Ayton. I love that, look at the guys he rolled out with, like Burkhart was just saying. And look, I mean, he was engaged. He was dominant. I like it, man. They're figuring out how to use him. And, dude, he's... What is this now, 20 games in a row or so? Like that he's put up double-doubles? He's impressive.
No,
this is the Ayton that you were hoping to get.
Yeah, there's no question, man. I'm glad you said that, Gary. And, hey, Gary, thanks for calling in, man. And I'm glad you had a good time at the game tonight.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You got
Thank you for the ticket.
Oh, you got it. Now, who is this? Gary, who's that?
That's my daughter, Claire.
Oh, Claire. Hey, Claire.
Hi.
What school do you go to, Claire?
Ash Creek.
Oh, that's great. Did you have fun tonight with Pops?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Claire and Gary, you guys have a good night, Claire. Nice to hear from you.
You too.
There you go.
That's not sweet at all. Doesn't just pluck your little heartstrings. Makes me think of my little kids at home. That's awesome. That's good dadding right there, Gary. Good dad.
I like it. Nice work, Gary. But we asked him, what jumped out at you tonight? Ayton. You love seeing it.
Without hesitation, people are coming around to him, man. He had another solid game. The double-doubles are flowing.
And you made a good point, too. Like, Ayton's out there on the floor with really kind of a bum lineup around him, essentially, and he's out there making it work. And he was directing traffic. I was watching him closely. He was directing traffic and telling guys where they need to be and what they need to do.
I say, now that I pointed it out, you can't unsee it. He's doing a really good job of that. I like that. And like I said, I'm just going to use it and beat it into the ground, man. But I think he found his voice, and I think that's just hugely impressive for him.
All right, well, it was great to see East Coast Earl. Big thanks to Gary for calling in. We'll come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, we'll give you the shot of the night. And we'll get to an NBA scoreboard report as well. The Knicks top the Blazers tonight here at Motor Center 105-93. They take off to the road now for a mini two-game trip. They're in New Orleans Saturday, tip-off at 4, game day at 1:30. All right here in your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. to New Orleans now to start a mini 2-game road trip before they come back home to meet the Clippers on back-to-backs here at Moda Center. The tip-off on Saturday will be at 3 o'clock, and game day will start, or at 4 o'clock, and game day will start at 1:30 on 620 Rip City Radio. The big story tonight, of course, DeAndre Ayton continuing his sensational play, 12 of 21 from the floor, 31 points, 14 rebounds, and it was just all over the place, and the mid-range game is so nice. I mean, he's really got it working big time. Got to love what you see from him. And for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson did a good job of getting his teammates involved, 45 points, but took 30 shots to do it. And the Blazers, really the quarter that cost them tonight was that second quarter with the mistakes and the turnovers. The Knicks outscored them 29-16 in the period. And then the Knicks come out and they just continue to control the game in the third quarter. Portland never got closer than 9 the rest of the way, and the Knicks go on to get the win 105-93. Anything else jump out you tonight, Burkhart?
Oh man, it was a good game. All things considered, I know it's so rough for this lineup right now. I think what stood out is this is another situation where you kind of understand what the Blazers need to do in the long run when it comes to building their roster up, Chad, because they need to get into a spot where they are sitting with big bodies. They just don't have big bodies. You looked at everybody on that lineup, right? Jalen Brunson's big. Josh Hart's big, which is painful because you used to have him. Isaiah Hartenstein's bigger than you maybe remember him being or thought he was. Obviously, OG Anunoby's huge, and it's just like that Celtics game, man. Big bodies are kind of the way right now, so we'll see where they go, what they build. But like I said, when things stand out, though, it's just another game where you're like, the fact that DA is standing out consistently is so impressive right now.
Yeah, it's huge. Portland, boy, they came out in the first quarter, and they used a 17-3 run to build a 25-18 lead, and they looked good in the first. A lot of different guys were involved. They were moving the basketball. Their energy was there. And then the Knicks scored the final 8 points of the first quarter and took a 26-25 lead into the second. And the second quarter was the bugaboo for Portland tonight. In that second quarter, the Trailblazers outscored 29-16. They connected on just 4 of 17 from the field for 23%. They were 1 of 8 from downtown. And then, of course, the turnover issues. 6 turnovers leading to 10 points for the Knicks. And that second quarter was just too much for Portland to overcome as they were trying to play catch-up the rest of the way. And every time they made a push, and it looked like they were on their way to making a run, the Knicks had a response. But the Blazers, those are the type of quarters, Burkhart, where you score 16 points, you shoot 23%, you turn it over 6 times, leading to 10 points for the Knicks. They're not talented enough to be able to overcome that type of quarter and get back into the game.
No, not at all. That's something we've seen all year long, right? Playing from behind is kind of tough for this team, and especially against a team like New York that if you get behind, they're going to be able to, ramp up that defense on you. That's what Tom Thibodeau does. So, yeah, it's just a talent gap there, again, that just kind of showed its ugly little face.
So in the Eastern Conference, Boston, 52-14. They are 9.5 games in front, Burkhart, of Milwaukee. Cleveland in third, 10 games back, and the Knicks sit in fourth, 13 games back of Boston, followed by Orlando and Indiana, 7 through 10 right now. Philadelphia, Miami, Chicago, and Atlanta. So the Knicks, 39-27, in fourth, 13 games back, 1 game in front of Orlando, who is in fifth, and they are 2.5 in front of Indiana, who is in sixth. In the Western Conference, the Trailblazers with the loss fall to 19-47. Oklahoma City is on top along with Denver. Both teams sit at 46-20. Minnesota's 1 game back. The Clippers in fourth, 3.5 back. The Pelicans, who Portland will play on Saturday, they're 6.5 back. And Sacramento in sixth, 7.5 games back. And the rest of the way, it's Phoenix at number 7, followed by Dallas, the Lakers, and the Golden State Warriors. And if we take a look at one of the best sites ever, tankathon.com.
It's a good one.
It's a terrific site. We can take a look at the draft order right now. Portland currently 5th in the lottery order. Washington 1, Detroit 2, San Antonio 3, Charlotte is 4, and Portland is 5th. So it looks like right now, based on the numbers, Burkhart, the worst that Portland's going to finish would be 5th, and there's still an outside chance to jump up to 4 because Charlotte looks like they're still trying to win games. So what do you think? 4 is a possibility, but 5 most likely at this point?
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of locked in. I know it's nothing's locked in until the end, but I mean, you look at the way the teams around them are playing. Memphis, I don't think they're gonna make ground falling up like that. Portland is not going to fall back because Portland would have to start winning games, right, for that to happen. So, yeah, I think 5th is right where they're at. 4th definitely in range, but 5th just feels about where they'll be.
All right, the mock draft right now has the Blazers taking Ron Holland, who is a 6'8" forward out of the G League. Sarr is projected to go number 1 right now, so we'll see how things continue to shake out. But I do think that Sarr is probably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
I think so. I think he's the top guy, and then it gets a little muddier from there. There is definitely about 3-4 guys right there in that mix for the 2 spot, 3 spot. But Sarr is kind of the cream of the crop in this one. The only thing about this draft is I think that this draft falls off pretty quickly. So where you want to go, how you want to navigate, I think there's a very realistic possibility this time around that, if you're sitting in a 4 or 5 spot, that maybe that pick is traded with some sort of asset to bring something in that can help you right now, which I think would be a smart move.
Yeah, I agree with your point. You were talking about, like, for instance, Delano Banton tonight is 16 points, but 6 of 20 from the floor. Like, how much can coaches truly gauge from this type of lineup that's out there on the floor where you have Ayton in the middle, but then you've got Scoot Henderson, Chris Murray, Tamani Kamara, and Delano Banton? Like, how much can you take from that?
You can't. You can't take much from the lineup when all those guys are learning on the fly and trying to figure things out. And I mean, there's some of those guys, like I said, Chris Murray is one we talked about. Like, they're trying to learn to play with themselves, let alone play with the other 4 guys on the court. So it's a tough game to figure that all out. And Banton, yeah, he looks good and he's aggressive, but you don't want your players going 5 for 20 every single night if you're trying to be a competitive ball club.
My favorite thing tonight was, of course, Ayton busting that ass and getting after it. But after that, I really love Tamani Kamara irritating elite NBA players.
He's getting really good at it.
Because a lot of those guys, the elites, they're not used to guys biting up on them, irritating them, challenging them like that. They're used to having freedom of movement, so they don't know how to handle it when a guy's willing to just take them on.
Yeah, it's like
head to head.
It's like the high school bully when he finally has someone mouth off back and not take it. It throws him off.
Do you like Brunson?
I like him a lot, and that's saying something because I wasn't sold on him early. I thought there was a point in time where he and Ant were kind of in the same conversation, the same tier of player. Which one of them would you rather have to build around? And now I think that he's in a different tier than Ant right now because he's a legit star.
Josh Hart played 41 minutes tonight, 7 points and 15 rebounds. OG Anunoby, 35 minutes tonight, 12 points, 9 rebounds. And, of course, they got 45 from Brunson. Dante DiVincenzo, 12 points on 4 of 12 shooting. Not really a terrific display of offense tonight from either side, to be quite honest.
No, it wasn't.
Let's see here. So what is that now? 1947. 16 games to go, is that right?
Sure. Maths, right?
No, for me it's not. So 40, let's see here, that's 66.
Carry the one.
Yeah, 66.
Yeah.
So 16 games to go.
There you go.
16 games to go. And we're down to the final 4 weeks of the regular season. All right, telephone number 503-248-0621. YouTube right now, live here at Motor Center. You can jump on youtube.com, go to our homepage, Rip City Radio 620, and be able to take part in the live stream and on our chat. The second quarter where the Knicks held the Trailblazers to 23% shooting, scored 10 points off of 6 Trailblazer turnovers, and outscored them by 13, 29-16. And that is where they really took control of the game, as they were able to build a 14-point lead going into halftime, and the rest is history. Let's check in with Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups following the game tonight.
You know, I thought we did a good job in the first quarter of just, matching their physicality and knowing how they were going to play. I thought we just had a good quarter, and then we just had a tough second quarter, couldn't make a shot. The turnovers really hurt us. I think they had 17 out of their 55 points at the half, turnovers. And it's tough to absorb that, when obviously we're going to have a little bit of a tough night scoring based on who we don't have playing. So that hurt us, but I thought we came out in that third quarter, and, we didn't win the quarter, but I thought it was good enough, but you got to have a big quarter to get back in it, Just didn't really have enough, man.
Is Scoot still on a minutes restriction? Is that why you took him out at the end?
I've asked you this a couple of times, Chauncey. With this team being so shorthanded now, is that an opportunity for the style, the imprint of the team to kind of show through, even though you don't have guys? Like stylistically, even though you don't have your primary initiators, but you've got style that you want to play. Do you think that you can use these opportunities to show that it doesn't matter who's out there, to kind of have it build up a little bit?
What we try to do is just that. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's not like when 3 or 4 guys aren't playing, we run totally different plays. We still want to play the same way. And I think for the most part, we end up doing that, and then sometimes you got so much youth on the floor that you can't get to the sets, Teams step up the pressure, and, the timing of the play is off. We turn it over, or we shortcut the play and shoot a tough shot, or inexperience just peaks his head up, and you can't really get to much, and even that, those are opportunities to teach, to teach our guys, and make them understand where the game kind of went left and why, because sometimes they just understand, like, dang, we had a tough second quarter, but they don't understand why, though. They don't understand that it was some of those turnovers or bad decisions or rim decisions, or some of the shots we took were actually turnovers, because we didn't have a chance at it. So it's great teaching opportunities, but we try to play the same way regardless of who's out there. But, obviously it's going to look a little different when you got shooting around, when you can drive and kick and that's a shot maker there, or, it's going to look a little different.
When you have Ant or Malk or more veteran initiators, you can let them kind of freewheel a little bit off of that stuff. what specifically do you have to do when they're not getting into sets or something breaks down? Like, what are the things that you find yourself kind of having to not overmanage, but maybe take the reins back a little bit?
Yeah. What I usually have to do is call the sets. I usually have to call the plays, but I don't like doing that as much because you might have Scoot or Atlanta, whoever, like kind of on the move in like a secondary break action. I see that there's no advantage, but now I got to slow them down and call a play just so we can actually kind of get organized before it gets out of control. So just things like that, that sometimes I will slow them down and sometimes I just want to see what's going to happen, because at some point they got to figure it out as well. But that's the main thing that I have to kind of take over is just some of the play calling and some of our secondary break action.
There's Chauncey Billups following the Knicks 105-93 victory tonight here at Moda Center. Fifth quarter, Chad Doing and Chris Burkhart. And as you can tell from, Coach, they did a good job in the first quarter, but that second quarter really killed them with the turnovers, the mistakes, and the ineffectiveness on offense. Outscored 29-16 by the Knicks. Telephone number is 503-248-0620. Let's go ahead and head out to the phones, and we'll bring up Dan in Northeast. Dan, what's up, my man?
What's going on, Chad? Tough loss tonight, but, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'd so much rather root for a team that plays hard and loses a whole bunch of games like it's happening this season. I'd rather watch that. I would rather watch that than watch a team that shows up, 3 out of 4 nights and, skates to 500 and then gets whacked in the first round by a team that actually does show up and play hard every game. Yep. I'd rather do that. And, the jury may be out on whether Chauncey Billups is the right coach for this team long term. I think everybody would agree this is a pretty rugged season to be making that call for reasons out of everybody's control. He's not the GM. He's not the front office. He plays the guys that he's got. And, that may be a valid point to talk about next year. But right now, all I know is he's got them playing hard. And not only is that tough to do, I think, with any team, but it's hard to do with a team that's this young. You can talk about the influence the veterans have, and they set a good example and everything else. I really think that starts with the coach, and the fact that he's instilling that mindset is really, really good for a young team like this. So,
and look at what he's getting from DeAndre Ayton right now too. Look at what he's getting from Ayton down the stretch in a season that's lost, playing this hard too.
It's terrific to see, and kind of a saving grace. It's been an up and down season for him and everything, but I just think it's really cool. He's only 25, man. It's not weird to think or realize that he's, rounding into the player that he's going to be in his prime. And the player he's going to be in his prime, if that's what we're seeing, and I'm not just talking about the statistically in the double-doubles, but the ability to be a factor on both sides of the floor, to have your go-to as a mid-range jump shot, that's valuable in the NBA. A lot of teams would like to have a dude who's got his size but is money from 15 feet. They're in short supply. That's a really good asset to have, and a big who stays relatively healthy, outside some issues this year. But to have a guy like that, young, on a reasonable contract, contributing on both ends of the floor, it's a really nice piece to have as they build this team out for the next generation or what have you. I was really stoked to see Scoot play the way he did tonight. He looks like an NBA player, in the first third of the season, I feel like there were some valid reasons for concern. Every year somebody blows it with a lottery pick. I'm like, did we really blow this one? I mean, is this a wasted pick? A wasted pick, but Emmanuel Mudiay or somebody, guys who stick around for 2, maybe 2.5 seasons before you know it, they're in Australia and you've lost your number 3 pick or whatever. We may not, as everybody said, and it's totally true, he's only 19. And there's a ways. I don't feel like we have a handle on what his ceiling can be as a player, but games like this reassure me that we know his floor is as a player. Dude is a rotation point guard in the NBA. That's fine for a 19-year-old. It's maybe unrealistic to expect something more just because he's not, throwing down left and right like John Morant was in his rookie year. I still think that he's got a bright future in front of him, and Tough loss, but I'll take it, man. And onwards and upwards. Knicks City, baby.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Dan, love hearing from you, buddy. Scoot is taking his lumps, but I was reminded of that tonight by the principal Curtis Sloan. He's like, he's 20. He just turned 20.
Literally, just a few weeks ago. Easy to forget.
Gosh, he's so young. Oh, the good news is, Burkhardt, more sunshine coming tomorrow. Today was awesome. I mean, I felt like I was walking on cloud 9 when I walked into the motor today. It's beautiful outside.
You probably walked into the bathroom to get ready for the day. You grabbed your toothbrush, and then you interlocked your fingers, and you held that toothbrush like it was a club. You took one good stroke.
I can't wait.
Just to loosen that back up. You're ready to hit the links.
Do your girls start to go crazy when the weather's nice? Does it provide them with a little extra energy?
Yeah, I think they've been a little crazy today. They're ready to be out of the house. So, yeah, they like it.
Well, we'll come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, if you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620, we're going to step into What's the Scoot, and we'll hear from Chauncey Billups on Scoot Henderson.
he's so competitive, you know. He's so competitive. You can see him out there, you know, in games. If a guy scores on him or if he turns it over, like, he's really hard on himself. So I got to I change up how I address, you know, Scoot. And this is not only when he's struggling, this is when he's playing well too, you know. As we're learning each other, you know, I've learned, and I kind of got to mix it up on him.
All right, there you go. Coach Phillips talking about Scoot Henderson tonight, who definitely played better than last night when he finished with 2 points on 1 of 8 shooting in limited action because of the minutes restriction. Scoot got the start tonight. He played 25 minutes. He was on a minute restriction with the second of a back-to-back, but he did get the start. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 of 13 from the field, and 1 of 4 from downtown. I like that, though. He said, hey, I've learned I've got to mix it up on Scoot. I can't come at him the same way every time. It's kind of like parenting, right? I've learned that with my kids sometimes, Burkhardt, as I'm sure you have.
Oh, absolutely, man. One of my kids I can come out and be a little bit more harsh with. The other one I can't, or she'll break down. And sometimes if I'm too harsh, she won't take it, but if I'm too nice, she won't take it. It changes depending on the day. So yeah, depending on the situation, you have to change your approach with the kids, and coaching is no different. So I like the self-awareness from Chauncey to say that, because I think there's a lot of coaches who are like, no, it's my way or the highway. This is the way coach does it. You're going to listen to me. But no, he's trying to get through to his young rook the best way he can.
He's pretty open and transparent. He'll answer any question.
Yeah. Would you like?
What'd you say is going on in your household right now? Jealousy amongst the girls?
Oh, they're so jealous, man.
Now, what are the ages of your girls right now?
They are 8, 6, and 1. And they are jealous. Every single one of them is jealous. The youngest is super jealous. She's like a baby monkey. You know, they're always latched on to mom no matter what.
Yep.
She's always latched on to mom. So if I go in there and like I see mom on the couch or something, I sit next to her. Next thing you go, no, and she comes running over and climbs up mom and pushes me out of the way. She's jealous. My other two, bless their hearts, they can't stand if dad's on the phone with mom, right? So I call mom, and I'm calling her coming over from the OSAA over to here today. It was like a 25-minute, 30-minute drive because traffic's terrible in this city. But in that 30 minutes, I got interrupted 10 times. Like 10 times. She's like, Mom. Danielle finally chimes in like, what? What do you need? On my homework, is it okay if like I write like this word instead? Yeah, that's fine. Mom, what? Can I have a glass of water? Like, they just cannot stand that dad's on the phone.
And they're doing it on purpose.
Oh, they're 100% on purpose. They're little snots, man.
I love it, man. We got our Zamboni floor cleaner machine out in front of us. This guy, he's the same guy that does it after every game. And I love him to death because he has a job to do. We have a job to do. And nothing is going to stop him from getting his job done. And I respect the heck out of that.
It's like he comes over and go just like right by the desk. You can hear it coming through the speaker, and he says, "Smile on his face."
Smile, waves, and then keeps on going, man. You got to love that.
Oh man, yes you do.
All right, 16 games left on the schedule for the Portland Trail Blazers. Let's take a look at what they've got coming down the pipe. They're going to start a mini 2-game trip, which will take place on Saturday. They're in New Orleans to meet the Pelicans. Tip-off is going to be at 4 o'clock. Game day will start at 1:30 here on 620 Rip City Radio. So after the game on Saturday against New Orleans, they're going to head to Chicago. They have a meeting with the Bulls Monday. That will be a 5 o'clock tip with game day starting at 2:30, hosted by Chris Burkhardt. Wednesday, they start a home back-to-back on Wednesday and Friday against the LA Clippers. And then Saturday, they're home against the Denver Nuggets, and that will be the final home game before they take off on their final extended road trip of the year, which is a 7-game road trip, which will start Monday the 25th of March in Houston against the Rockets and end on Sunday, April 7th in Boston against the Celtics. So the Trailblazers are nearing the end, but they still have a number of difficult matchups on the schedule. At New Orleans going to be tough. 2 home games in a row against the Clippers. Not easy. Denver at Houston going to be tough. At Atlanta, a team that played them close last night. At Miami, at Orlando, They still have to go to Boston, home against New Orleans and Golden State, and then the final 2 games of the year, Houston and Sacramento. That's a tough stretch for a shorthanded team.
Oh, man, without question, that's a tough stretch.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
I have none.
You got nothing.
I'm
out.
I'm done.
Chris is tapped out, and he is at tilt. So big thanks to all of you for joining us on YouTube and on 620 tonight.